Hey guys, Larry here with L&M Homestead, and I believe all my parts are in. So we're gonna open this puppy up and check it out. It's kind of cool. Up here in the city, they have this little shed right here. And I was noticing they actually have these at the cat dealership outside the building too. I guess you pick up after hours or something. They can put it in there. And all you do is just use your cat key that used to operate your machine. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. And it will open up the padlock. It's pretty neat, and they have a truck running around that delivers these things and delivers products, and that way you don't have to run a couple hours for it. So I'm gonna find where it is. Oh, they're all piled over here in the corner. Right down here. Can't see it. Those are the deals. And they just put them all in there and they just put your name on them. And then you can come in and grab them. But these are the new ones. These are pretty old. They're all discolored. They're all covered with grease and stuff. But you can see how on the top of them they have a big flat. It's like the top of these teeth are like about 3/8 of an inch wide on top of the teeth right here. Mine are actually to razor blades. You could actually put your finger on them and cut your finger. And down in the bottom of where the teeth are here, they're actually worn right down into the material here. So mine are completely worn out. I did have an email from a guy, from a subscriber, and he drives bulldozers, and he was telling me, I don't think you need to replace those. He was telling me the skipping or whatever, I'm not cleaning up my tracks and stuff. He is actually correct. They need to be cleaned out more often. It's something I kind of fail on. I work and I got so many different tasks going on that I do as much as I can, and it's like, oh, I gotta go, and then I park and go. And then especially working with the snow gets all built up in there and everything gets packed in there, and it's softer, and I could dig it out at that moment, but I take off and then it gets real cold at night and it freezes into a solid block of ice. So I gotta do a better job of that. There's 2, 4, 6, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So I got 9 of them. So I'm gonna throw these in the back of my truck. I picked up the other one from the cat dealership in Marquette yesterday. And I got all the pieces and parts. I'm not sure I'm gonna be doing this right now. I think I'm going to actually finish what I'm doing and with the bulldozing out there, and then I will probably tackle this job and everything. That way I can get it all good and cleaned out and everything else and spend the time on it. So I'm gonna load these things all up and get them in. I'm gonna grab my gloves and so my hands will get all nasty and everything. So I'll see you guys out at the land. Well guys, we're out here at the land, and as you can see I had all this cleared off. Pretty much so. We had a very warm day yesterday. Should have been out here kind of working and stuff, but we took a family day. Kids are out of school for spring break. And we went to the big city of Marquette. Did a few things and hung out and played around a little bit. Watched a movie and went out to dinner and all kinds of stuff. But hey, we had a pretty warm day yesterday. I was talking to my daughter yesterday on the way back over in Minnesota, and she said they had like 70 degrees over in Minneapolis. But this is really, the water's all gone from over in the corner. That ditch that I dug going out that way seems to be working. So that's letting the water drain out of here. I got that all cleaned out back there, but I just have it in a pile right here in front of me. I was gonna use the backhoe and scoop that snow out of here and stuff, but I didn't get to it. I ended up 3 yahoos trespassing. They were back in the woods back there, and they came over right over here in the corner and acting dumb and just being obscene and just stupid and just, I don't know, whatever. So I had a little tiff with them and stuff, but got them guys out, and kind of made it a little too late in the day. But I got that all done. This is all cleared off up here. And this is where the future septic is going to be. It's going to be down here. I got all the snow cleared off of there. And you can see it all pretty much melted all the way. And there's like no standing water down there. A little bit over on this side, right in that area. My finger never points right on the camera when I go to edit it. But it's over out this off of where the septic is. The septic will be like somewhere in here, somewhere, I don't know, see if that comes out right. And going that way. And then this way it'd be lawn. And so I got to bring in a bunch of sand, a couple feet of sand, put it down in there, and then fill all this in with dirt. And then it needs to go from the top of the septic, it needs to slope downwards towards the driveway. And then I got to fill in alongside the driveway and have that slope in and have a natural drain going down into the corner. That's what the finished product will look like. And then the house will be right in here where these couple dead trees and stuff are sitting in. This will be where the house is. Basically the house will be right where I stopped bulldozing. I may come up here and push this snow out here just to get this melting faster. Get it off here so the stuff dries out. But pretty cold today. I think it's like 22 and it's windy and stuff. And so wind chill I bet you is down around 10 degrees or so. Kind of big temperature changes and everything. I was actually thinking about taking a snow bike out for one last rip. But it's so cold and snow is going to be hard, so it isn't going to be any fun. So I need to wait for a warmer day and I might take the snow bike out. And I was thinking maybe I'll take the snow bike out and take you guys for a tour around the whole property, around the whole perimeter, and let you guys see that. Well, guys, you can see this cut I made in here so I can get in and out. This is where I was driving through with the dump truck when I was hauling all the loads out. And I got the bulldozer all running, warming up. And now I gotta push all this snow here, this whole area here, push it all down into that hole. But I'll show you the difference between track segments. So you can see right here how they're wearing down almost to where the metal ends right here. There's only maybe a 1/16 of an inch. And then these things here are actually sharp, like really super sharp. If I sat here and rubbed my finger, I could see the line cut in my finger. They're like razor blade sharp. And this is a track segment right here. Looks like, I don't know. Yeah, it should be able to. Yeah, it should be able to. But this track segment here goes in there. It actually will go in like this way. But you can see the difference. You can see these are like square up on the top of here. They're like 3/8 of an inch wide. And see, it's over a 1/4 inch here. This is the reason why I need to replace these, because these have a pitch to them, a certain pitch that the rollers will sit down in and it drives it. And that's the big thing about ordering. You got to get the same, you got to make sure you get the right pitch so that it doesn't tear up the rollers under here on the chain. And so it has the correct spacing. Well, these are so worn that it's changing the pitch. So this here will put it back the way it's supposed to be. So that's what I've read on it, is that basically when these get sharp and this gets thin, you got to replace these. Otherwise you could mess around and wreck a bunch of your undercarriage. So that's why I got them. I did try to clean it up before I left the last time. Chiseled a bunch of it out and everything else. That subscriber was saying that the top idler, he didn't think it was turning. It didn't look like it, and I've actually been afraid of that because it was just packed full of ice around it. But I've driven it many times, and as I go forward, I'll lean off the machine and look down, and you can see the idler turning. And if you looked at the ice real close, you could see it was actually grooving into the ice. It was actually turning. So it was turning,
But yeah, I need to do a better job cleaning this thing out every time. It's just I don't have the time, you know. I come out here and I do what I can and stuff, and then it's like, oh, I gotta go. I got a meeting, I got an appointment, I gotta be someplace, and I take off running, and when I come back, it's all frozen. So, just gotta do a better job cleaning that stuff out. Well, guys, I put a little more time out here, and I got called away. My wife had a marathon, and help assist with that, and I got tied up with some work things with our little career that she has and a little business we have going on and stuff, and I help her with this stuff. I do a lot of the coding and stuff like that and everything else. People ask me once in a while, I get emails and stuff. And just on a side note of that, I kind of have to be really careful of things. I know some people, they send me things and want me to open things and look at things and stuff. I can't do that. I don't open things and everything. Very careful on that kind of stuff because that's how I've gotten hacked in the past and stuff. So it's kind of it's a world that we live in, you know, and people are always trying to scam each other and stuff. So being on social media and having that stuff out there, I kind of deter away from that because it's just people trying to just take things for nothing and stuff. So it's a very weird thing. I get a lot of emails for working on projects and building stuff and we want to hire you and all this different stuff and everything. And nope, don't click on that. Don't click on that kind of stuff. But I have some people have been asking, and also in comments too. And I try to answer the comments. I try to get to them every once in a while, but I'm just like crazy busy, and I know it's not good for me not to answer that comments. I do look at them sometimes, and I'll scroll through them and everything else, but I can't get back to all of them all the time. I'm just stretched very thin between this and getting the time to come out here to get this all going. So my building season will be good this year and get us where we need to be. And also the work and then the family time. And then I also have another family too, you know, because I was married before and have children too. So between all those different things, it's hard to kind of get everything. But some people have asked about the brokerage deal that I started up. I did that and I was doing that. And I've actually let that go. The gentleman that was working with me that I was partnering with and stuff to open up this up here, he's basically just taking it all over. I've just sent everything I had to him and stuff and just going that way. I was doing it and stuff like that, and the world the way it is, it's like a cutthroat business. The brokerage thing is very cutthroat. And I, being a truck driver for 20 some years, I was independent and everything else, and I would call for freight, and it's like, I can barely even make money on this. And how can I justify that? And when I worked for WL and I was an independent with WL, not independent, but owner operator with WL, they would send me freight, and I'm like, I'm not doing it for that. That's crazy. I can't even barely pay the gas. And they're like, well, it'll make up on the next one, on the next load, it'll make up for it. And it's like, no, that's not how you do this. I'm here to make money, not to break even. And so I don't believe in cheap freight. And being the new guy going out there trying to get freight and everything else and to brokerage and stuff, I don't want the cheap freight. I don't want it so that I have to then put it out on the market, and anybody of any real value that's going to haul it is going to need to make money. Well, the companies are just so cutthroat, and they're just basically, the only way that you can get your foot in the door is the promise to haul it for hardly next to nothing. It's the cheapest they possibly can get. You try to underrate everybody else so they can get in there and get that freight. And then you put it out, and then the only people that are going to call you on it are people that are not really good truck drivers, I want to say. They're just trying to get anything they possibly can. And a lot of times they don't have the years, they don't have the reputation and everything else that shows that they're going to be on time and that it's going to be taken care of and everything else. And a big thing that I was going across is people couldn't speak English. And I didn't want to be any part of it. It was really bad. I was still doing it. I was trying. And it just wasn't producing a lot of money. I could see it and just keep, plugging away, and maybe over time, get more companies to trust and start giving actually decent freight and everything else. But that's a really hard market to get into too, because a lot of the companies, I know a guy up here, he's in my church and everything else. He's in charge of the shipping department and basically one of the major shipping companies up here. And he's in my men's groups and we do sermons studies together on Wednesday nights and stuff. And me and him are really good. Our kids, they go skiing together. We know each other really well. And I have actually talked to him like, hey, throw some freight and stuff. And we've talked just a little bit. I didn't want to infringe on the friendship, but I kind of talked to him about it. And he was like, we've been with this company forever. And yeah, I get a lot of calls from people trying to do brokerage. They want to, take our, have our freight and broker it out and stuff. And he goes, but, we know this company and we've been with this and they take care of us and they always have. And so we're good. And that's a hard market to get into because a lot of these bigger companies and everything, shipping companies, they're set up and they've been working with the trucking company or whatever brokerage place or whatever that's been taking care of it forever. So the only way that you can really get into it is to really promise something. And I could have pushed him on it, but I didn't want to do that. But, it's really hard to break into that kind of stuff, to get that first one going. And the wife, she is very, very smart. I mean, crazy smart. And she has master's degrees, like multiple of them. She also has a PhD and everything. Yeah, I don't know what she sees in me. But she makes very, very good money. And she's actually known in her industry to be one of the best in the country. And a lot of places come after her and want her to do stuff for her. So she doesn't like the technical stuff. She doesn't like Captivate and learning about variables and advanced, actions and stuff like that. She just doesn't. She's the creative. She has it in how she envisions it and how she wants to do it. And hey, if you watch me, well, she speaks well. She actually has, English, masters and all this stuff. She can really do that stuff well. Not so much me, but I'm really good at that kind of stuff and learning how to do the coding and all the kind of stuff to make the things do it. So we decided to, she was been getting advance from other companies and stuff, wanting her other places to create things for her and do things. And she just doesn't have that time. And then she said, I got, this company contacted me and they wanted me to take on this thing. And it's going to pay, $170,000 for a year contract, and we could do this together. We could, kind of do a company and we could do this together and you take care of all that stuff and I'll take care of this stuff and we'll make this all work, and I think we can do it together. We can handle it, but by myself, I can't do it. So I looked at the situation and we sat down and discussed things and everything. And I could do these things early in the morning. I try to get up at like 5:30 in the morning and I work for hours there doing that. And then I can come out here and I can get this work done to progress our family towards this. And then I usually go back later in the afternoons. And then I usually get the kids from school and stuff and throw together dinner stuff. And we got the kids kind of working in that too, chipping in. And then we all sit down and have dinner, and then I go back to it, and then I work on it in the evenings too. And so that's actually been working out well. So that's what I've done is we have decided that we just don't see it working out, that it's going to be tremendous, and it takes a lot of money, and it kind of irritates me that I'm one of those guys out there trying to give away cheap freight, and I don't feel good about it. It just doesn't make me feel good. So we decided to do this, and so we kind of started up this company, and that's what I do now. It's just me sitting behind a computer, and basically, if you go start work at a company, and they have like an orientation thing, and you sit at a computer screen and you go through and you listen to this thing. And I mean, JB Hunt, we used to do this all the time. For the different quarters, you'd have to go and you'd have to watch this thing and how the leaves are falling, and it may be slippery when you drive over leaves or something. You know, those silly things. She creates that kind of stuff for a lot of places. And she's really about trying to make it interactive and this e-learning stuff, and that people actually gain something out of it and take it home. And she's just a brilliant woman. So I do all the things that when you click on this button, then this comes up, and click on that and this comes up, and like one that I'm creating right now, it's on cybersecurity, and it's like an email, and what types of things would you looking at an email would tell you that this may be a scam. Well, there's misspelling words, there's links that you would talk about clicking on or doing this. And so we planted 6 things on this email that would be suspicious, that you go. So the user goes and clicks on them, and as they go and click on them, then a star appears that you gain a star, and then a caption comes up. Yes, this word's misspelled, so that would be a sign. This isn't proper grammar. Strange hyperlinks can be a sign. Misspelling of an email or something, whatever. And there were 6 things, and as you do this, then the puzzle pieces start popping off, and then as you gain all 6, then a picture comes up behind those puzzle pieces, comes up and covers the screen, and it's like a hacker guy sitting at a computer, and it's going to say, "Oh, you just exposed the hacker," and all this stuff. And it's good job, stuff like that is what I'm doing and everything, and making all of her ideas come to light. So that's what I do now, and I work with her and everything, and we get to spend more time together, and hey, it works out. So it's something that we're doing now. But I came out here and I did some work and everything, but I've been real busy with other stuff because we got some deadlines that are being met, so I haven't been able to be out here. But I'm going to get out here and try to finish this stuff, and I'll show you what I got done here. So I've pushed a lot of this back, and so this should dry out a lot faster, so I can get my dump truck in here. And I think it ends like right in here someplace. I think is where it ends. But you can see I was pushing the snow out, and I'm pushing it into the hole that I've been digging, and you can actually see where I sunk right down. So it's probably right here where the hole ends. And I was going out, and this whole mountain just dropped like 6 inches. I was like, oh, too far. Backed off it. But I've been pushing the snow, and I got a lot of that pushed over, but I'm going to finish cleaning this up. And then over on the other side of the road where I got to take all this topsoil that's over here, I got to take this and haul this out so I can bulldoze more and take more of this fill. But I want the pile of topsoil over on the other side of the driveway. I got to clear that too. So I'm going to try to finish this up today. But it's actually a pretty nice warm day. I don't know if you can see it, but chunks of snow are falling and things are melting. And it's supposed to be like 40 degrees today. And I have only ridden my snow bike one time. My brother came up here snowmobiling one time. And the time that I went, the seat on the thing was so uncomfortable. It about killed me. So I think I did a little work on it to make the seat more comfortable. So I think before the snow completely disappears, because being warmer, all that snow out there is going to be softer. So it should be okay with the snow bike. And so I think before the snow all disappears and all the work I did putting the snow bike together and all that stuff, getting ready for the season, getting everything running good, I think I'm going to take it all for one more cruise. And I was thinking about taking you guys for a cruise around the land and show you guys the whole entire.
That truck right there, these are the hills that me and my brother like to play around on. Do a lot of side hill and climbing those hills right there. So I have this gate here. We just kind of built it across here just to notify people, hey, this doesn't continue in. So the blue paint was actually done by the forestry company that owns this property. They came through afterwards and they painted, they're supposed to give like what they believe the actual line is, and my signs are right on that pretty much. I kind of guessed on a few and probably got off 20 feet here and there and stuff. Some are across of mine, some are across the theirs. Don't really see it as a big deal. But it goes up this way. It's not like we're going to build right on the line or something. But this is where it separates. And then going back, this is 10,000 acres of wooded land. So let's see if we can get back there. Go up to this corner over here. It's a little hard to drive this thing. These things do not drive well. These snow bikes do not go well in crusty snow. So I'm actually on the Timbers property right now. You can see up ahead here. I just saw an opening there that was a little better. I thought that would be better. But you can see the property line right here. So right here I'm on the property line. And then this here, so it comes here and you can see the flags and everything. There's a metal post that's in there that the survey company put in. And they put that in there. That's the corner of our property, is right in the circle of those orange things right there. It's right in there. The guy who owns that property, you can see a bunch of no trespassing signs up there. He owns 8 acres, basically runs right alongside of us. And he doesn't want people trespassing in his land either, so he has the trespassing signs up there. I think he thought that this was his property line. He put a sign up here, and then the survey company came in and was there. It's no big deal. I still have to meet with him and have a conversation with him and show him the property survey map, but it's only that it. He's not going to have a problem with it. It's official. Let's see what I can cut in here. Yeah, packed snow is not fun in this thing. But you can see the line of trespassing signs. That's the line of our property. Somehow I got to get through here. I don't know how this is going to work out. Trying to see a better way to get up here. See if we go down in here. I think what I'll do is I'll go down here and cut across. I think that'd be easier. Yeah. Ah, tree. So the property line is right at the top. You can see a red mark there maybe on the camera, I'm not sure. Goes off that way. So we're kind of cut through here. You can see where we are. It's about 100. So I think up here it's more like 125, 150 yards from the opening to the property line up here. What our overall plan is after we get the house built, we'll have our temporary, these modular home style, these modular homes that we're going to build, and then we'll move them out of here, move into the big house. Our plan is to continue to make a driveway over here and maybe put these like right at the base of this hill and put them right down in here, right at the base of these trees and stuff. And then we can, right at the bottom of this hill, and set them all up and everything else with a separate sewer and well over here. And then we'll have these, we can rent them Airbnbs, or if somebody has an issue or something like that with housing, we'll be able to offer that and, you know, help people out. So that's kind of our plan. So, but yeah, I just love it out here, guys. All right, let's cool down a little bit. I think I'm gonna cut down lower. The property line goes up that way, but it's like, it's just really steep ravines that coming down through there. And tell you the truth, I'm not into getting stuck here today. I'm a little bit sore. And so I don't feel like messing with it. But we'll take you down to the final corner down here. Oh, we had a tree fall in here. Ouch. So now we're cutting back up into the woods here. And you can see right here. Tree. Right here is the property line again. You can see all these ravines that are all through here. It's it can get pretty steep through here. But yeah, this is the property line. I don't think it's 100% accurate, because what I did is we had the corners surveyed, but for them to survey the entire property line, it probably would have been like, I don't know, $10,000 more. And this guy that owns the property up here, I don't think he's ever planning on building. There's some kind of like a cabin or something up in here. I'm not really sure where. I don't really go out there and search, but he told me there's a cabin up there. And if I ever go out there, kind of leave it alone. I guess his son built it, and then his son passed away. And they try to keep it somewhat standing and kind of a memory thing, and his wife goes in there on his birthday and kind of cleans it up and decorates it a little bit. And I told him, of course, I'm not going to be in there. But it's somewhere back in here, I guess. I'm not really sure where. But there's a cabin in there somewhere. But he's never going to build in there. I'm not going to build over in here either. So it doesn't have to be the most accurate. The only reason why I have these signs and these posted signs and stuff is so that it gives me a legitimate line. So if somebody comes into the property and a dirt bike or side-by-side or snowmobile or something, and they break their neck or something, they can't sue us because there's a trespassing sign within every 50 yards surrounding it. And that's what a real estate attorney told us. So as long as that is done, there is no legal remedy. We're still going to get people coming in. I mean, we're out in the middle of nowhere, so there's people all out here riding around, and there's going to be somebody poking out here and there, but, you know, we just have to try to keep it legal so that we got to protect our family. That's what it comes down to. I need to cut back down here. So this is the corner. I believe it gets kind of brushy down here. Let's see. Oh. It's really hard to drive this thing in the snow. Oh, tree. That hooked me. This is pathetic. Let's see. It comes through here. It's over here someplace. Oh, I see him. So right here is the markers. You can see it right there. There's signs on the other side of the trees, can't really see them. And right there is the highway. So we own all this over here. We actually own up that hill a little bit. It goes kind of over the crest of that hill. And there's a neighbor on our road to the entrance to our property. They live there, and they just have a little corner there. And they have a bunch of kids. And he wanted to buy this down here. He wanted to buy this corner that I'm sitting on from us when we bought it. And there's a nice little creek down there. See if I can go down there. I don't know how steep this is dropping down here. That's nothing. So, I don't know if you can see the orange flags. There's orange painted on a tree over there and stuff. There's 3 markers over there, and that's where the corner of our land is. It's just on the ditch from the road. And there's a nice little creek. Let's see if it's unfrozen. Yeah, looks like it is. Some spots. But there's a little creek here. And it goes up, and it goes back that way, and that goes over to our driveway. This thing flows pretty good, especially in the spring. Flows pretty good. It's a pretty good little battling creek, and it's got all these rocks and like steps downs. And Michelle, my wife, we come down here, and she loves to hike and stuff, and she goes to a place called Canyon Falls. And the water cascades over these big boulders and goes down these falls and stuff. She loves it in there. And we bought this, and this was the first thing she saw that she noticed was this little creek down in here, and the water, you know, going over the rocks and everything else, and it had that, you know, kind of like a little mini falls sound to it. And she's like, we got our mini Canyon Falls. And then the guy who lived up there, he was kind of like, hey, can we buy this? Because they don't have a lot of property. They're up on top of this hill. A property line goes back from the corner and goes right up this hill and goes up into their backyard, and it goes over towards the gate. And on this side of the driveway, our landline is further up than it is on the other side. It's kind of a weird shape to it. The survey guy is like, there's multiple corners up there. So we have kind of a chunk of land going across there, and I don't want to. He has a bunch of kids. You can see one of the orange flags right there where it goes up. I put trespassing signs up there, but I tried to hide them so that if you're in his house, you don't see them. But I tried to put them on trees where they're kind of hidden and stuff. I don't want him to have company over at his house and they look out their back window and they see all these no trespassing signs going through his backyard. But we had to mark it. We had to get it marked that, hey, this is, you know, not your land, in case something happened. And they have a bunch of kids, and they love the kids. They got like forts and stuff built up there in their land. And the kids, they come down here and they hang out by this creek and stuff. You can see the footprints going around here. They've been down through here. And they like to come down. It looks like they're sliding down the hill over there and stuff. And they like to come down here. So what we did is we wrote up a contract with them. And we said, we will allow you guys to come down here and play by the creek and stuff. The kids can come down here. You just have to sign this saying you take responsibility for the kids. That you're responsible for any actions they do. They're not allowed to build anything, burn stuff, nothing like that. But they can play down here and do that. And so they signed it, no problem. And then he was asking if he could hunt down here. And he wanted to till this land up. He wanted to bring his tractor down here and till the land up and plant a food plot in here for the deer and all this stuff. And I thought about it, and I was like, I don't care. But then I was talking to a person about the trespassing and stuff, and they're like, you can allow people in their land, but they're not allowed to change anything. If they change anything, that gives them domicile over the property. And if it continues on, I think it's for 6 years, maybe 7, and they do this for that minimum period, they can actually go to the courthouse and claim your land and take it away from you. And you won't even be notified. The land will just transfer to them. It's crazy. But I went and talked to them and told them, listen, you know, you can't do that. If you want to throw some seed or something, but you can't work the land up, I don't care if you want to throw something down in here, grow something that will attract your deer and stuff like that. And I allow him to hunt down here. He hunts down in this corner. Not sure where he sits. I think he'd have a tree stand on one of these trees. But he comes down here and he hunts and stuff. And I think they got like 4 deer out of here this year. I kind of thought they'd give me a couple steaks or something, but they never did. But I didn't have the time to hunt this year. But yeah, they hunt down in here. So I have no problem with that. You know, be good neighbors. It's just the one thing that we had to do is we had to get the kids out of the property because I'm running big machinery. And when we first bought this, this was their playground. Our land was their playground. And they were back in there with all, you know, 4-wheelers and dirt bikes and just racing around and having fun. And that's cool, but I'm a big equipment. And I brought the crane truck here, I think it was. Yeah. When I brought it in, they were all flying around me in the driveway with their stuff. And they kind of were all watching me. And then they came up behind me and I was trying to back it up into place. And the kids were sitting right behind me and I couldn't even see them in the mirrors. And I'm like, you guys got to go. And so I kind of came to the realization that we needed to establish some boundaries and stuff because I don't want our interaction but to be neighbors is, hey, I just ran your child over, you know, with a bulldozer or something. So we kind of set up the boundaries and stuff, and they're fine. They're doing good. They have a path that goes out the other side, out the other neighbor's backyard, goes over, and there's a snowmobile trail that goes right along our property, and they use that to get back into the woods and play around. So they still have access. But this is the corner, the one corner of our property. Well, guys, let's get out of here. I don't want to go that way. It gets super. It just drops straight down to that creek. Let's see if I can find a decent way out of here. Oh no! I almost tipped over there. Let's see if we can get up this. Oh yeah, no problem. But the creek here runs right along here. Our driveway is right over here. We have 2 neighbors on each side. They're nice people. They got a whole bunch of kids and everything else. And they're good kids. They just like to play outside and stuff, and do all kinds of crazy stuff out here, and that's good. But this here, over on this side, I plan on we're going to build up against this woods here, coming out a ways. We're going to make this into a field. Pretty much going back there. Eventually this will be all bulldozed, kind of leveled off, and this will be probably a 5, 6, 7 acre field or something like that. That'll be out here that we can plant crops and corn and, you know, alfalfa and stuff for make hay bales for animals and everything. And then the barn will be over there. Well, some pastures over here, some pastures over there. But eventually, as the kids get older, we'll probably give them a chunk of land. Somebody will probably get this corner up here. Have a house in here, maybe down by the driveway, having a section off another one over on the other side of the road. So that way, if the kids want to stay here, we can give them an acre or 2 and help them build a house, and they can have a home. And we have decided that what we'll do is we'll put it into like a trust thing, where the land will stay in our names, but they will build it. The house, they will have to pay for it. I'll help them build it, of course. But then if something crazy would happen, because me and my wife have both been through divorces and everything else, and things can get ugly. And they're great kids. I hope, they have really good heads on their shoulders and stuff. But if something would ever ugly happen like that, we don't want it to be, well, they have to sell the house, and the ex-wife gets half of it and wants to be sold, and then we get somebody else living in here that we don't know and don't want around. So somehow I gotta get across that driveway. This machine is insane crossing roads and driveways. I basically have to walk it through. Let's see if I can get it across there. So I'll cut down through here. This is the way I usually go with snowmobiles and stuff. So my camera was dying, so I had to run back and charge it and everything else. But this is the very front corner. You can see the pillars that I built over there. Those are the two neighbors that are on the road, and then the road that dead ends into our property. But we were actually going to build a house right here. It was going to be for my mother-in-law, and she was looking for her own house and wanted. So we looked at things, but things didn't quite line up. Things were just not falling into place. So then she was looking around at other houses to buy. Well, I had the other house, the Upper house, that I had all fixed up, and we were trying to figure out what to do with it, rent it or what, because we got married. And we were thinking about renting it. We were thinking about doing Airbnb type stuff, or just selling it outright. And she was looking around, and she didn't want it, everything else. But then we started looking at other houses, and they were like tall houses. That's a very common style of house up here, and they're usually tall with steep roofs on them. And there's always a very steep kind of stairs that goes upstairs. And she's older, and stairs are not her friend. So then finally I took her over to the house, over there to the Upper house, and showed it to her. And she was like, oh my goodness, this is cute. and so, but she could only afford so much, and we just thought it was better to drop the price in that, let her have that house and everything else. And then she's well taken care of. Everything's brand new in the house, and everything's good. So we were going to build one right here at the entrance, and she would be right here where we could, help take care of things. But she's good over there and stuff, and it's not that far a drive that we can help, take care of things here and there. We've been over there and shoveled the roof, and we go over there and do things. I guess a couple pieces of siding came off. I got to go take care of them soon. But now we get across. That's ours. Our property line on this side, on the other side of our driveway, it's actually it's only a couple feet past the pillar, and then it goes that way. And then it goes out behind their house, then goes over, and then goes off through the woods. It's a kind of there's weird jogs through here. And it's kind of a wet area right over in here. This is where this creek starts. And it's always very wet in there. There's a lot of trees in there that tipped over last year. We had a big windstorm. I was talking to people at the church at burn wood. We're not going to be at the point of burning wood this year yet. So I was like, hey, I got a bunch of trees that are leaning. We need to get them cut up and get them, somebody can use them. And some people are like, yeah. So we'll get a crew of guys out here this spring and something like that. Chop them up. I told them we'll just cut them, we'll drag them out of there and then cut them all up over in this area, and then we'll use the backhoe and just throw all the wood in the backhoe bucket, and I'll just dump it in the dump truck and take it to their house and just drop it. So, got a lot of work to do, but I'm not going to drive through there because it's really thick. It's just a lot of brush and stuff. That's going to have to be cleaned out. But I got to get across this driveway, and it's not fun going across driveway roads with this bike. I'll show you. So I'm thinking probably right here. Okay, so what happens here is, I don't know if I picked a good spot here or not. I'm trying to get into there. Is the front ski on this bike has their carbides on the bottom of there, and there's 2 big ones, and they're huge. And as soon as you hit drive where there's no snow, it just like slams on a brake, and it just can't go. It's about impossible. So you got to get off and kind of walk it across stuff like this. So yeah, you can see it just digs up. It's really bad crossing stuff. So I'm not going to go all the way back to the corner. It's like way back in there, but it's really brushy and it's really buggy and stuff. So I don't know if I like dealing with all that, but I kind of go towards it and you guys can see. This right here would be another location for a house for one of the kids. They could be down in this corner here. Let's see, I'm trying to find a little bit clearer spot I can get through here. Here we go. Alright, let's see how far we can get down in there. It's decent enough. Okay, I have crossed over. So you can see the posted signs right here. It goes right back here, and it's like back in here somewhere. There's another one of those 3 marker things, and there's a big steel post. So that's where that is. So I'll see if I can follow kind of the trees kind of dictate where I have to go here, you know. So I'm kind of going right on the property line here. And my guess is this tree here, this one, stuff like that is the property line. That was my guess. There's a trail right over there, goes all the way up along here. But I put the signs back just a little ways, just to kind of give a buffer zone to that, you know, we're not trying to take away the timberland property here, I guess is what I'm saying. this here, it was hard to try to get a straight line through here because it was so much brush when I was doing this. But it really doesn't matter. All I'm trying to do is just put a line through here that people will see, and then they'll know they're on private property. That's all I was trying to do. See, I mean, there's one here, but then there's one over there. It's not really straight. It's the best I could do. It's not really defining the lines. It's just kind of giving, you know, notice to everybody. And then see, this is where it approaches in that corner that we're building on. And this is why I had to change the location of where, let's go up this way, of where we were putting those containers. Because according to the Onyx, it was showing that our land was like way back further where I am now. But it's not. It's not. It actually goes right off the edge of where we would then even have snow there. And it goes up, and then you can see the blue streak right there, and it continues to go way back into the woods. Yeah, it cut right across there. You can see the blue streak. That was from the timber company. And then we had a surveyor. I had him put stakes all through there exactly where the property line was in there, because that dictates you can't build or put something within 10 feet of another property line. And the Onyx was showing it was like up on top of this hill right here I'm sitting on, back in here. So wasn't quite correct. Once I saw that, I was like, whoop. So that's why I had to dig all the hills out and all that stuff. Which way I want to go. These were those guys, those yahoos that were down in here. Trying to see where I can go through here. I guess go this way. Whoa, that's my cliff. Alrighty. So this is where our property crosses right here. And it goes that way. It's real thick in there. It's cut over here. And then this is the corner. This is the back corner. There's a metal stake that's just there behind my bike. And this is the corner. And then it goes off that way. And that goes up to the other corner that we see. And I mean, we'll probably, I'd say about a quarter mile, maybe not far, maybe not, yeah, probably about a quarter mile from where the opening is, back here. So, it's very pretty. There's a lot here. Let's see how we can get out of here now. Trying to see the best way to get out of here without going through the really thick stuff. I guess maybe go through where we play paintball. I think that might be alright. No, it looks really bad. Getting there. I think if I hug this hill right here, shouldn't be too bad. Alright, this is where we play paintball. Can't see anything now, but see, there's a pallet right there. We have these all over in here. See them up there? And then there's a yellow tape we put in here, around here, to make the field. I was sitting behind that one time, and my oldest stepson, he was on my team, and we came up out of over the hill, came up over there. Oh, there's a squirrel. Something just was like, what is that? We came over the hill, and we were over the other hills, the other side, and I threw myself behind that pallet to hide. He came running up. He decided to climb this big pine tree, and he climbed way up in there, and he was hanging up there. Well, all those branches on the bottom are all junk, and most of them are gone now. And this son was coming down the hill. He got right about here. This tree fell since we've been playing. But he got right about here. He was up in that tree, and I was about ready to light him off from over there. And my oldest one, he was up in that tree, and pow! He shot him, and he was like, "Oh man!" He turned and started walking away. I saw her crack. And he was up there, and he had his leg over a branch, and he was hanging on to one and shooting with his other hand, and a branch broke, and he came all the way down, falling down, snapping branches as he's going. He ended up down on the ground with his leg up over a branch. And I just went, "You're good?" And he's like, "Yep." And then after the match, his whole side of his body was just torn. It was like just, oh, it was horrible. It was just all scraped up. I was like, "What do you think you're doing?" He's like, "I was being Vietnamese." That's what he said. And I just laughed. It was funny. Let's see, right there is where we got married. I almost hit a stump. And now we're back into the opening.
Well, we are back down here, and I am not sure I actually hit record when I was way up in the far. But we went all the way back to the far corner. We've started at that far corner way over there. And we went way back in there and showed you guys around in there. We played paintball and stuff. I don't think it recorded, because when I tried to stop the recording, it didn't make a ding. So But and then I came out through there, and that's where we play paintballs in that little woods over there. But it's about a quarter mile, I would say pretty close, from the trees here, from where the opening is, back to the back property line. It's a big spot. I came out here and I got this pretty much all cleaned out. It's all scraped up. I need to come up here and push all this snow into the pile, into the hole. And then I'm just hoping this dries out fast enough that I can get a dump truck, get my dump truck in here and start digging out this dirt. And I want to make basically dig out first a canal that goes like this and goes over this way, because that's all up elevation. All this, basically, Keweenaw Bay is that way. And up on the top where we're building a house, you can actually see the bay. That's like 10 to 12 miles. And it just continually, gradually gains elevation all the way to here. And basically, it peaks right behind where we're building a house. So all of that snow up in there comes all down, trickles down through different spots. Where we came actually riding out, that was one of the places that flows all out. And it flows all out of there and comes down, and it all comes through, and there's like ravines in here that have been washed out, and it all comes into here and just washes through, and this becomes a huge river. And then it goes down to that creek. So what I want to do is get this moved out and start digging this and digging down 18 feet going this way. So the water that goes all in there when it really starts melting and filling that up doesn't overfill and then flood my area. So that way it goes this way and then comes out and goes alongside that little hill there and goes down to the creek. That's the plan. Well, guys, this is quite, I don't know what you guys, each person thinks differently and stuff, but this is just awesome to me. This land and stuff and all the woods and stuff. Years back, I was just thinking, okay, I'm going to move. I had land down in Wisconsin. My parents were giving me some land to build a house on up at a farm, and it was a beautiful piece of property. And it was kind of the plan, but the kids, my girls were grown and they were off starting their lives. And then I was thinking, I really enjoy the woods and I really enjoy the mountains. And so I was actually thinking of moving to like Wyoming or Montana or something like that. And I've been out there snowmobiling many times, and I thought about going out there, but then also would come up here. My brother brought me up here and introduced me to this, and I was like, okay, well, it's got lots of snow and, lots of places to go, but there's no mountains. There's decent size hills, but there's no big mountains like out, in the Rockies. And my deciding factor was that my girls, they were going to be starting to have children and stuff. And I was like, I'll be 20 some hours away where I can come and visit the grandkids, or be 5 or maybe 6 hours away so I can see them more. And I decided I'm going to do this so I can be a little closer. And then I met my beautiful wife and starting a whole family all over again. Took on another family, and it's just been awesome. But this has been a dream of hers too, is to get a nice piece of land to make and develop on your own and everything else. And it's not for us. I mean, I look at like Matthew, Matthew 6:19-21. Do you store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moths and vermin destroy, or where thieves break in and steal? But store up for yourself treasures in heaven where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And that's a hard one. That's a hard one for me, because this has been a life dream of mine doing this. And I have a big deal with trespassers and everything else. And the big thing is that I'm doing so much work and I'm putting so much effort into building this and into what we want to make this a really cool place and everything else. And so, is this my treasure? No, it isn't my treasure. This is going to be a place that we can have security. We have some place for the kids to grow up, good values, and then in the future they can come back here if they choose so, and we can help build a house and stay together and everything else.
And the other big thing is that me and my wife talk about, how can we use this for better? And that's one of the big things with the temporary house build that I'm planning on doing here. I'm going to be starting in probably a month or two. That is going to be a temporary house for us to live in while we're building our house. And then when our house is complete and we move in there, these units are going to be able to be moved. And then I'll take them over to the other corner of the property and set them up, and I'll split them in half and make 2 of them out of them, and it'll probably be like little 2-bedroom places. And we can have them for like rental, for Airbnb. A family comes up, they can have their own place if they want to. And then also, if there's somebody that is in need, maybe their house burns down or something, or maybe there's a fire, or maybe there's a flood, or something happens, or a water pipe, or whatever happens, that somebody is temporarily without housing out, and we hear about this, we'll be able to say, hey, why don't you come out and use this? Using it for the betterment of everyone. That's what we've really talked about. And then the other things is we're going to put a big pond in here. And I talked, I think, earlier in this video, how I'm going to make an airfield here for RC airplanes. There's a guy in town that it's a hardware place, and he flies remote control planes. And I've been down there and I've seen the planes all up and everything else. And I said, I have planes and I'd love to fly, but there's no flying field. And he's like, I know, the guy does it out in the parking lot or on the water. There's kind of a group of guys, but nobody has a field to fly on and everything else, so they jump around until somebody kicks them out and stuff. And I said, well, me and my wife are doing 80 acres. And I'm planning on putting my own airfield in, So, and we can, these guys will be able to come out and fly out there and stuff. So that's what I plan on doing with like the airfield, is having the airfield in there. And then, and I went in the other day and I stopped at the hardware store to get some paint, and the guy was there, and I talked to the manager guy, and then I saw the guy and kind of talked to him. He's like, you're the guy my manager said something about, and I've been looking for you. And we sat there talking, and he's like, dude, whatever you need, whatever help you need out there, you let me know. I can get a group of guys together. We'll help you and everything else. And he goes, how you think of like a club or something? I said, I don't think it'd be like a club. I think it'd be that we own the property, but maybe guys can chip in, and we'll have a lawnmower down there, can help mow that, make it so it's real nice and everything. And nice to fly airplanes off, and it's kind of keep that or whatever, and volunteer stuff or something like that. And he's like, that's cool. And so things like that, where we can have people in the community and younger kids and get them involved in it. And in the whole time of that, as I'm building that and everything else, I'll be able to also talk to people about Jesus and spreading the word of that, and working it for his good too. And then, having a pond, and then with the church and stuff, we're going to build some really cool paintball stuff back here, maybe airsoft or something like that, and youth group, and we can get other kids to come out, and the youth group will come in and play, and we can have battles and little wars and everything, and that'll give people a chance to have conversations, you know what I mean? And then also having picnics and just hanging out and having a fellowship with people and stuff. So we want to put in more factors of, how is this not our treasure, but how are we going to use this for the betterment of Jesus Christ? And so that's what we're working towards and everything. And I think it's hard. And I'm going to tell you that I had those 3 Yahoo guys come up just like a week ago or so. And I'm going to say they tested my patience. They were nasty and everything else. And I lost it. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't sleep for almost 2 days. I really failed Jesus in that moment. I really did. I lost it and got really nasty with them and everything else. And it bothered me so bad. And if I could have found them, I know there were some out of time guys, but if I could have found them, I would have went up to them and apologized and said, that was not the way to talk. But I also have to protect the family, and it can't have people coming in. And so that's why the trespassing signs are up there, is just to keep us safe. So if somebody does happen to strangle in someplace and hit a branch, or a tree falls on them or something like that, my family's not going to be in danger of us losing this land in some lawsuit or something, something crazy. So it's just a protection for that. So this is God's land, and we're just borrowing it. So we're trying to figure out how to use it the best we can. So it's been really good for trespassers. It really has. Since I put up all the signage and stuff, people have really been staying out of here. It's really been good. I haven't seen a lot of tracks. They built this like parking lot, this people did, like 3-4 miles that way towards town. And it's for people to unload their snowmobiles and then just go off in the woods. That has created a lot more people coming this way. But with the signage, most people have stopped and respected it and turned around. I've had a couple people come in and stuff, and pretty much as soon as my presence is here, they're gone. You know, they just take off. They know they're doing wrong. They just don't. They're going, oh, I don't think anybody's here. And then I show up and they go, oh, somebody's here. So it's been really good. And I think when we actually live out here and have buildings out here and stuff, then people are going to be like, oh, just somebody's home. So it's pretty good. It's been a lot better. It was just those 3 guys, and I really disappointed myself. I didn't sleep for like a couple days and how I acted in that. It was not Christ-like whatsoever. But, you know, we're all sinners, you know, so I just have to ask for forgiveness and do it better next time, I guess. But yeah, so this is the land. This is what I'm working on. I'm going to jump on the bulldozer, push this snow off into the hole up here so it doesn't melt into the hole there, make that all muddy. And then I got to jump across the road and just tackle that a little bit so I can start coming in here and getting all this topsoil out of here and haul it over there and get out of here so I can get in here and start digging this and actually getting ready for grabbing all this fill and everything. So I did look in the forecast and there's like a couple days of snow coming. I'm like, come on guys, it's over, give it up, give it up. But they'll probably have some flurries or something. Alrighty guys, I am going to let you guys go. I hope that you all have a good and godly day. And as always, God bless you guys. I will catch you later. Bye.
My clutches. So I'm trying to find my entrance behind the containers. Oh, I see it. This is what, whoa, I want to be. Let's see, which way do I want to go? I don't think I can go in here. That is, and my plan is to have that going out. That's how we'll be getting in for our trails for stuff.